Today we're going to take a look at the basic Stencil machine. First things first, power it up. Once it turns on, you're going to hear a beep. Go ahead and flap that open. First design is going to be a basic rose. So grab your stencil paper. First thing you want to do with your stencil paper is remove the brown sheet. It's directly behind the top sheet, and you don't need that sheet at all. Go ahead and toss that. Next, you're going to grab the top two sheets. From here, you're going to take the top two sheets, which is white, and the thermal paper, the purple one. You're going to slide that directly north in that north slot right there. You'll see I feed it, and then I grab it from the top. I'm going to pull it through. As I'm pulling it through, I'm going to drop that door. I'm not going to shut it yet. This is going to help me guide it directly through and get it evenly on both sides. Once you have your sheet in place, go ahead and close that door. Make sure you use both your thumbs. Shut that door on both sides at the same time. Now I'm going to grab my rose design. This has to go face down. You want it to face your papers. Once you put that in the machine, you're going to hear the machine grab the paper. It's ready to go. From there, hit the copy button. It's the blue one. And just watch it guide. Now, you don't have to touch this sheet or anything like that. As you see, I kind of just hold it and guide it, make sure everything's going smoothly. For more complex designs, there are times, like if you have a darker stencil, it could snag or it could get bound up. But for this design, it's all line work. It's going to go through pretty smoothly. All right. And you'll see my design actually came out the bottom, feeds right through. Let's check it out. Solid. All right, we're going to move on to our next design. I'm going to go ahead and grab another sheet of stencil paper. First things first, go ahead and take that brown sheet out. Get rid of that. Then I'm going to grab the top two layers of my stencil paper. So that white top sheet and the purple thermal sheet. I'm going to flap those up. The white sheet and the purple sheet. We're going to go through the north slot. When you open those doors, make sure you open the door with both sides. Grab your top two sheets and feed it through that north slot there. Think of the yellow sheet as your tail. Now, you don't have to have that tail there. You can actually rip the yellow sheet off, but I find it keeps everything square and even. Now, I push that door down, but I don't latch it until I have it all the way pulled through. And the biggest thing is just making sure it's even on both sides. If that stencil paper is kinked or uneven, it could snag. You might have to just redo your stencil entirely. Now that I have it in there, I flap that yellow sheet out of the way so I can put my design in. Design goes face down. Now when you put your designs in, your machine's going to grab it. You'll actually hear it grab. From there, it's ready to go. Go ahead and hit the copy blue button at the bottom right. Now once it's feeding, I'll pull that stencil sheet back over. Just make sure it's coming out smoothly. For those more complex stencils, it's best just to watch it. Now you don't have to hold this paper or do any of that. I typically just do just to make sure it's doing what it's supposed to and I'm paying attention. Keep in mind, this is a $120 stencil machine. You find them on Amazon. There are tons of stencil machines out there, but this one does great work, especially for the price. All right, go ahead and open this up. Make sure everything came out clear. good. All right, so now keep in mind when you're cutting your stencils out, you want to stay pretty tight to your design without cutting any of your design off on accident. As I do this, you're gonna see that, I'm going around the shape of the design, trying to stay tight everywhere. Think of it this way: if you're gonna put this design on a body part that has a little bend to it, or it's gonna curve or kind of roll over onto a different part of the body that's not flat, you don't want to have a big square piece of paper, and then it just won't fold very properly. So from there, as you see, I'll remove those bottom two sheets. All you need is your white sheet, that's your actual stencil. And then what you can do is relieve cut your stencil. And this is gonna help just make your stencil lay nicely, especially if it's on a body part that isn't flat, like the front of a shin, how it curves. It's not a flat surface like an inside forearm. Just adding these little relief cuts is gonna make that so much easier for you to apply that stencil to skin. It's not always necessary, but I do highly recommend it. This one's good to go, ready to apply. So here's a close-up. On this sheet of stencil paper, I have the brown piece removed. I'm gonna go ahead and flap this and grab my white and purple. Once I have that grabbed, if you look there, between the yellow and the white sheet, it almost looks like a mountain range. You always want that on top. Then grab your white and purple, slide it through that north slot there. Once you have it started, I'll grab it from the north side. And then I'm gonna drop that door just so I can get this thing set in place and evenly on both sides. I'll go ahead and pull. When you shut the door, shut it on both sides, left and right. If you see, I use both thumbs. From there, pretty much ready to go. You can flap that yellow sheet out of your way and go ahead and drop a stencil design inside there, face down. All right, so we're gonna apply that first rose we made. Go ahead and take the yellow purple copy, toss it to the side. Now, you don't have to relief cut this. Doing this just to kind of instill to you guys that it's highly recommended, especially if you're gonna put it on a body part that's not completely flat. If you look at this design, these leaves, they're kind of all over the place. So it's gonna help them lay really nice if you do have those relief cuts in there. So I'm gonna grab my stencil stuff, apply a few drops on here. You don't need much on fake skin. Go ahead and rub that in thoroughly. Now fake skin is a little tricky. It's hard to get clear stencils. And you don't want this too wet. So gotta find that happy medium, which is tricky. Keep that in mind. All right, so once you think it's ready, go ahead and grab your stencil. Now when you lay this, you want to drop it flat and you don't want to smudge it. So as you do that, you'll look that I kind of pat it into place. Now, if you try to put too much pressure and you make that stencil piece slide, it's gonna ruin the whole stencil. You will have to start over. Like I said before, fake skin is tricky. It is hard to get perfect stencils. So don't be discouraged if you're missing a little bit or it's just not perfect. The next step will show you how to take care of that. This one turned out pretty good, but there is a couple deficiencies that we're gonna take care of. All right, so I have my reference right next to me, and I'm gonna go ahead and take a Sharpie, and we're gonna draw in anything that I don't absolutely love or I'm missing, and we're gonna make this stencil perfect, so when we go to start practicing, it's good to go, and we're not over here just free for all in it. I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you're an artist and, It's just a rose. But this is like your cheat sheet. When you have a stencil, especially on a real client, a real tattoo you're about to do, you might as well have a perfect stencil. It's only going to make your job easier, and then you're not free-handing random things throughout someone's tattoo that's permanent for the rest of their life. Take your time and just make it perfect. Something I also did, especially early days of tattooing, is I would lay random tattoos on my legs, on places that were kind of tricky to do just to get practice. So when I did, have a client and I was, say tattooing a shin for the first time, I had a little bit of experience rather than just going in there and winging, laying a shin tattoo. And I feel like it's going to make you a lot more comfortable just having that muscle memory of doing all these different body parts. It's really going to give you those key fundamentals when you do get in the spotlight and have to apply these stencils on clients that you don't know. If you really want to feel confident, definitely practice. Make your stencils perfect. And one day it'll be like riding a bike.